DOSBox-X. It is like the coolest DOS emulator. If you don't know what DOS is, there was these things in the 80s and 90s called PCs, right? What is a PC? PC is short for personal computer. Basically, they used to be these like large plastic towers or boxes, like a cardboard box but made out of metal, and you'd stick a monitor on front, you'd have a chunky ass keyboard somewhere in there, and then you just like access applications like Word Perfect or Microsoft Word or Excel or Lotus Notes or, you know, games like Doom. Or you can even browse the internet from early web browsers like Netscape and Internet Explorer. And it was so much fun. If you had access to like a PC in the 80s and 90s, you were in for a wild ride. Now, while it wasn't the whole networking research Unix kind of thing that was happening in some parts of the world, like France and in the United States and in the UK and in Europe, Switzerland, and so on, the PC was like the mass market personal computer. It was what you wanted to do for whatever you wanted to do at home, for your business, for fun, for taking notes or whatever. It was just like a whole bunch of fun and really enjoyable. And you could even learn how to program. And that's how I originally learned how to program. Is my first PC was like an 8086, which was like not a Pentium, not a 286, not a 486, but like a 086. And it came with DOS, I think 5.1, or maybe it was earlier, and it came with Quick Basic. And there was like inside the DOS manual, there was like code about how to code assembler and how to use like debugging and stuff, like a debug program where you could actually like write programs in assembler and save them to disk and then run them. And there were example programs using like interrupt 20H to print stuff to the screen. I mean, it was wild. Like suddenly, like I was just a random kid, like 10 years old or whatever it was, so curious about this. I get all this like shiny, maybe it wasn't so shiny, but like, you know, those book manuals, they had that smell of like a giant like book with that ink and that paper, and it smells like there's a lot of knowledge in here, right? And I took that and I looked into it and I was like, holy shit, all these programs that are on the computer that are like made by professionals somewhere far away across the world that I know nothing about, I can actually make a little program that'll say something on the screen. And so I just got into this so much, like, and then Quick Basic, it was like, well, that's an easy way to create graphics and colors. And then I figured out, well, you know, it wasn't that fast. You couldn't get all kinds of access to all kinds of graphics. You couldn't get raw access to things. And you couldn't play with bits and binary, so you couldn't really generate lots of random stuff. And I was really into generating random stuff because then I thought I could generate all these like random graphics and colors. And so eventually, after going into assembler for a bit and realizing this is too fucking hard, I got into C, and that was sort of the beginning of my journey of like, holy shit, I can create things that create this like pseudo randomness and then print shit to screen, whether it's characters like a matrix style, characters cascading down the screen, or it's like colors and shapes. And it was just the coolest thing in the world. This was like in the 80s and 90s doing this and having these like, you know, 640 by 480 monitors, and there's people playing drums, and I'm like putting shapes on the screen and colors, and I'm like, holy shit, I could do this. I could like make this kind of stuff. I could make something happen. I'm having an interaction with this machine. I have power in this machine where I can make things, and it's just so cool. Like when I grew up, I really like drawing. I like banging around on some instruments, but the computer was something different. It was like so flexible and cool, and like you could express so many things that you couldn't express, you know, somewhere else. So the PC and early operating systems like DOS, like what is DOS? Like what is DOS 5.1, MS-DOS? Like look at that. Look at what that looks like. That is what I grew up with, that kind of blue screen. And to this day, my Vim RC settings are basically a blue background with yellow text, no syntax highlighting. Literally, it's been like that way for about 15 years. But I grew up with this kind of shit as an interface on personal computers, on library computers, and it was just the coolest thing. Like this is some kind of file explorer program, and I was like, this is so cool. Look, you can see all the little parts of the system what do they do? What do all those weird names do? They're all like sound like code words. Because the names had to be like 8 and 3, like 8 characters maximum, and then 3 for an extension. And it was just the coolest little world to get into at that time. Okay, I did not want AI mode, but anyway. Alrighty, so that's my experience with DOS. And now, what is DOSBox? DOSBox is this super cool emulator where you can run DOS and that kind of environment on modern systems, and it actually turns out you can do a whole lot of shit with that. Like, you can run old DOS games, like you can run Doom. You can run Doom in DOSBox. And you can run whole operating systems in DOSBox. Look at this, Windows 9X NT4 and later versions supported. I mean, isn't that insane? Like, you can run an operating system. Look at this. This is like Word for DOS running in DOSBox-X. Just look at these glorious pictures. How cool is that? Seriously. And look, you can run Tomb Raider. Like, look at those graphics. It's so compelling. It's so immersive. There's something about those pixelated graphics and the kind of flat, matte, magic hour shadows that you get, and the textures and just the way it arranges and the perspective. It's like a whole new art form, like when, you know, in the 1600s they were doing perspective paintings, and now you've got like classic, and you got textures, and you got perspective, and you got architecture in these games. It's like the same kind of thing. It's so immersive. And look, this is Windows 98 running in DOSBox. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about old Windows systems running in DOSBox. And it is literally the coolest thing, because like, look at all those icons. Those icons are awesome. Like, they are so much better than any icon you've seen today. Look at that mouse. Look at that add new hardware. Look, there's a CD. There's like some kind of memory chip or other, you know, sound card. There's maybe a disc or something. Like, it's so cool. Icons today totally suck. Look at the icons back then. Like, it's also obvious what the interface does. Oh, I was just about to try to interact with that, because it's the kind of interface where you want to touch it. You want to interact with it because it looks so touchable. It looks so interactable, but it's just a photo. So we're actually going to bring that to life using the power of this great thing called DOSBox-X. I don't know much about the history of the project, but DOSBox-X is basically some kind of high-powered, high collaborator count fork of an original DOSBox kind of thing. And there's just like so much shit you can do with it. So I highly recommend you head to this website and just check it the fuck out, because you'll be able to run DOSBox-X on like all kinds of systems. I'm running it on macOS here. What macOS version do I have here? Okay, Sequoia 15.16.1, right? It's on an old MacBook Air, and it's totally running fine. So it's amazing. So systems that were built for like Intel x86 processors are running emulated totally fine, super fast on DOSBox-X on macOS. Okay, and look, there's even a project on GitHub. Let's check that out. Wow, look, it's from one guy, John Campbell. I thought it was a whole team. Let's check the collaborators. Yeah, okay, 145. See, lots of collaborators. High collaborator count. They're merging in. 20,000 commits. Last one's 2 days ago. 3,000 stars. 100 people are watching. 400 forks. But those numbers do not give an accurate picture of the impact. This project is huge and impactful and amazing. Look at these issues. That tells you how much demand there is. 1,000 issues. That's all these different people who are using this and then comment to the issues. And imagine how many more people are using it, finding an issue, and they don't go to GitHub to report it. So DOSBox-X is a huge project, an amazing project, a great project. It's not just about the aesthetic of retro computing or bringing back something from an earlier time. There's something real here, and maybe, even if we can't put it into words, maybe we'll get a picture of some of that by what we're going to do today. So, basically, you need to set up DOSBox-X on your computer. So luckily, I've used an AI to help me come up with an amazing script to set up DOSBox-X on your computer. Now, this script is supposed to be cross-platform, macOS and Linux, right? I don't know about Windows. I don't know about that. We probably have to use PowerShell for that. Okay, but that's something else. This will basically get you set up. If you got a macOS and you got a Linux, this should get you set up, although I have only tested on the macOS for now. This script will get you set up with DOSBox, and it'll get you set up with installing Windows 95, Windows 98, anything like that. It'll take care of the config, the setup, all the commands you have to do. It'll do everything. This script is the bomb. So I want to show you how to do that right now. So what you're going to need to do, if you want to do it in this automated way, follow the steps. If you don't, you can circle back to how to do that a bit later, because there are guides out there on the DOSBox website about how to do this. So you want to drop into a shell prompt, and you want to just clone this repository, right? So you want to run your git clone or whatever your alias is. Okay, so you copy the link. Oh, that's my link because I'm a contributor to this. So you can't use that link because you don't have the private keys. You got to use this link, but that's no problem. That just means you can't push to that remote. So git clone this. So we're cloning this down, then let's have a look what's inside here. Okay, we didn't really want to see the git stuff, but I don't know how to exclude it with that. But basically, all you're interested in is this grok branch, because, hey, I'm not going to diss anyone here. I'm just going to say, you're interested in the grok branch. That's the branch you want. So that's the command you want. And look at this. You got a couple of commands here. Setup, that's the first thing you run. That will actually install Dropbox, sorry, not Dropbox. Sounds same, very different. It's going to install DOSBox-X. It's going to create the right folders. And then you want to go new. And that's going to create like a folder to contain your actual virtual machine for DOSBox. Because DOSBox will give you like a hard disk image. Create that. Well, actually DOSBox won't give you that, but it'll expect that. And we create that for you. We create the config. And now the next one you're going to want to run is the attach ISO key. So you're going to have to find an ISO for some of these. So you can find that. Now, maybe I'm not allowed to search for it on here because that would be like showing you how to download software that's like, hey, it's 25 years old, but there's probably some automated lawyer programs that are looking for this kind of stuff that'll be like, and YouTube in their amazingness will be like, well, we don't want to take on any risk at all, so if you even hint about how to try to find some software that potentially could be under copyright in any way, then scan and ban the video, possibly. So, but I can tell you that those ISOs are out there. They're on archive.org. You can search for them. You probably want to look at the DOSBox guide to tell you which ISOs you need, but a good ISO for the Windows ones is basically the latest you can get. That's like the OSR 2.5, something like that. So you want to get your ISO, right? You want to get your ISO. Once you download your ISO to your downloads folder, which I'd love to show you, but I think if I show you, it's going to be like, meh. Okay. So we got this path to ISO here, right? So we want to attach the ISO into the thing. So you know what? I'm going to go and find an ISO right now. I'm going to download it. But then this part of the video is probably going to be cut out. Okay. Here we go. Look at this. You can either get the self-bootable Windows 98 or you can get the non-bootable Windows 98. So let's just go, okay, Windows 98 ISO archive. Second edition, first edition. And now, is OSR for Windows 95? Yeah, I think that's, yeah, Windows 95 is the OSR. Windows 98, you probably want to go something like this. Second edition. Click on this. Boom, you got your Windows 98. I think this is the one that I used. It's about a 600 megabyte download. And then you just download it. It'll drop down there, right? Okay, so we're downloading that. Probably have to cut this part out. Okay, now we want to run the commands, right? Let's just dive right in. Okay, so grok WinPower. Okay, it shows us this. We want to set up. DOSBox is already installed. Yeah, it's installed. But if it wasn't installed, it would use Homebrew on macOS to install it. And if you're on Linux, it'll use the right package manager to attempt to install it. But like I said, I have tested this script on Linux. If you want to give it a try and then you find something, head over to that repository, make a pull request and fix it. Alrighty. So setup complete. Put your Windows ISOs in there. Don't worry, you don't have to do that. We'll automatically attach it. You can just download it to your downloads folder. Now, let's create a Windows 98. You know what? Let's create a Windows 95 first, because that's kind of more cool in a way. So it's creating a pre-formatted HDD image. It's writing a config, and we've got launchers for install and start. Okay, great. To be honest, I don't even read that stuff. I'm just like, yeah, something's happening. and it's good. Okay, grok, WinPower. Now we want to attach the ISO, right? So the OS key is the Win95, and then where's our ISO? Download. Oh, that's Windows 98. We gotta get that. We gotta get the Windows 95 ISO now. Here we go. This looks pretty good. This looks good. Let's get this one. So this is a 500 megabyte download. But thank God the archive.org, is so fantastic that the bandwidth on the archive.org permits this kind of stuff. Alrighty. The download's pretty much complete. There we go. Windows 95 OSR. Oh, come on. What's it doing? There we go. So we've attached the ISO. Now the next step is install, right? What's going to happen? It's going to run DOSBox. It's running DOSBox. It's X copying stuff. Let's put it in a workspace. Let's go and have a look. We don't have to watch this, but it's kind of fun. This is what DOS and Windows used to look like. So cool. Look at that. Look at that progress bar. How awesome is that? That is done with IBM code page characters. Like they're just ASCII characters. Okay, so we are getting the setup, and this is all automated. You just have to issue a couple of commands and download an ISO, and you are running Windows 95 in basically an hour, because the setup takes about look at this, Windows 95 setup, look at that. Hey, welcome to Windows 95 setup. You see my tiny mouse here? Let's sync up and get that giant mouse. Okay, I clicked in. Welcome to Windows 95. Congratulations on your choice of Windows 95, the newest and easiest way to do what you want to do with your PC. See? PC. PC is what it's about. Setup will take 30 to 60 minutes. They're not lying, depending on the speed of your computer. Even where emulating and you somehow could be faster, it's still going to take that long. To begin setup, click continue. Look at this, how cool is this? Look at that little icon there, the computer, and there's like a box, the box that you bought, and there's discs going into the machine. The icons are just fire. They're so cool. Yeah, okay, I'm agreeing to this. We could actually read this. Look at this. Read carefully. This end-user license agreement is a legal agreement between you, either an individual or a single entity, and the manufacturer, the PC manufacturer, or the computer system, computer, with which you acquired the Microsoft software product. Identified above, software product or software. End-user license agreement for Microsoft software, Microsoft Windows 95. Okay. If the software product is not accompanied by a new computer system, you may not use or copy the software product. The software product includes computer software, the associated media, any printed materials, and any online. Oh, you notice how they quote online? This was the 90s, man. Online was still like not considered really real somehow. Or electronic documentation. By installing, copying, or otherwise using the software product, you agree to be bound by the terms of this EULA. If you do not agree with the terms of this EULA, PC manufacturer and Microsoft are unwilling to license the software product to you. In such event, you may not use or copy the software product, and you should promptly contact PC manufacturer for instructions on return of the unused products for a refund. I kind of like that language. I am in the software manufacturing business. I am in the software licensing business. That language sounds kind of cool to me. Okay, so do you accept all of the terms? Yes, I do. Alrighty, so let's rock in for the thing. Okay, yes. Look at this. You got CDs, you got discs, you got a... Look, you're expected to maybe take notes for the process. That's so cool. We probably want to just take the typical installation. Oh, our OEM. We need to enter our OEM key. What is it? Oh my God, I got to remember this. It's 34698 003 9682. $72135. Alrighty. Did I get it right? Name, Chris, company, do, say, go. Okay. Yeah, I think we have this stuff, but we might not have it yet. I'm not sure. How cool this setup is. 690. Okay, so let's set up our internet connection. Since we've already got the network adapter, it should be kind of straightforward. Oh, okay, this is the wrong way because this is the modem way. So we actually, let's make the screen a bit clearer. So again, we want to set it up like before, enabling the DNS. We give our host a name. We add some DNS servers. Check that the values are right here. Yes. It's gonna say you want to restart probably. We're gonna log in. So let's again access the internet here. We got this cool thing again. I wish you could hear it. I guess I need to go through this or whatever just to get rid of it. I think I also need to, I've adjusted the network settings, right? I need to adjust the internet options out here because I need to say that I'm connecting through a LAN, right? Rather than, here we go. I mean, there is no modem, right? Like, it's not a modem that we're using the local network. So this is sort of like the common way that people back then connected to the internet was like over the phone line using like a modem. But that's not what we're doing, you know? So let's just close this down. It doesn't want to close. Okay. Oh my God. Let's cancel it. Yes. This is what we want. We want this internet connection wizard connect through a local area network. There is no proxy server, but it's going to try. I don't want a mail account. And see the underlines of the characters? I can just press that key if I want. Now I think Internet Explorer is going to open and it's going to be like, oh, I can't do anything. It'll just try and detect the proxy settings one time and then it'll like just store that away and it won't do it again. But now we're going to basically be on the internet. Let's see what version of Internet Explorer we have. Look, we've got a DNS working, but it can't do it because for whatever reason. We got Internet Explorer 5. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's try now. We get Google again. Wow, look at that. We've got Google. We're on the internet in this old computer. But if we click on this, it's not going to work because it's going to be HTTPS, right? Okay, so that's the thing, right? We got Windows 98. We got Internet Explorer 5. But we can't access the modern web. What the fuck are we doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like we've got all these computers out there that are running these old operating systems, but they can't access the modern internet. Like, look at this shit. This came out in like copyright 1995 to 1999. I mean, that is crazy, right? But this software, even though it works, it can't open the modern web because it's all HTTP. And the HTTPS that it knows, it doesn't have the modern ciphers that everybody uses now, so it can't access those sites. It won't talk to the protocol. So it's like your old computers with their old browsers won't be able to get on the internet. But, ta-da, if you have yourself a BrowserBox, you will be able to run, look at this, Windows 9X. We'll be able to connect to Windows 9X to the modern internet. Look at that. That's DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo did not fucking exist in 1995. It didn't exist. So let's do that right now. Let's set up our BrowserBox. So we already have BrowserBox installed. Let's make sure we got the latest version. Okay, so we're on current version 12.1.4, but the latest is 12.1.5. So there's a background update. So we got to wait a little bit for that. Okay, so while that's doing, we're just gonna like run the BrowserBox Windows 9X compatibility. So if we look at this, we see Windows 9X has got a little dagger next to it. If we go to that dagger, Windows 9X clients are supported by running the new BrowserBox Win9X BB command, which will output the login link for legacy Windows clients. Supported operating systems. However, you can now connect to BrowserBox from legacy Windows 9X machines and browsers. But you still need to run the BrowserBox server on a modern system. So our modern system for this purpose is our macOS machine, right? And we're emulating in DOSBox-X Windows 98. And so we're going to be connecting from Windows 98 to BrowserBox running on our macOS machine, right? Okay, so let's see if our update is done yet. We've got to hit the BrowserBox again. It's prepared, so it's going to install it. So now we're complete. Now, what does it say? It says Win9X BD Pro. So we're on the latest version. We've got a valid license. It's setting this shit up for us to be able to run in Windows 9X compatibility mode. Waiting for Windows 9X compatibility server. Here we go. Oh man, look at that. I don't want to type that in. So we got to run bbx setup to change the token to something easy. Alright. Oh, it's going to complain because it's already running, I guess. Okay. bbx start, bbx setup, T. So all the ports are free. Now we can run our Win9X BB Pro with an easy token. I think. Yeah. And we can just type the address in. Look at this. We're going to have Windows Internet Explorer. 0 access to the modern internet. Look. DoSago.com. Okay, don't show the warning. It can't be displayed. What about YouTube? It cannot be displayed. What about, can even Microsoft be displayed? Not even Microsoft. So old browsers, old operating systems cannot access the modern web. It's not fair. It's not fair. But look, here's our classic, here's our access point for the modern internet. 172.2010.2. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. That, select or create a tab to begin. Look at that. We are on the modern internet in Windows 98. Running on DOSBox-X on macOS in 2025, 30 years after, 27 years after the release. Internet Explorer 5.0. And we are on the modern web right now. Look at that crazy shit. How are we here? What's Donald Trump doing? He's the president in 2025. He wasn't the president in 1998, but he's the president now. What else? So we're typing something in. Internet Explorer. Let's check it out. We're searching. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. We're scrolling down. This is legacy client for BrowserBox running on Windows 98, a 30-year-old operating system, running in Internet Explorer 5, and we're accessing the modern internet right now. Let's open another tab. Classic Internet Explorer didn't even have more than one tab. That, man, it's the modern internet. It's the modern internet on Windows 98. What the how crazy is that? How is Internet Explorer doing this? Look at this. I want to click on Wikipedia. I can do it. I can click on Wikipedia. I can read Wikipedia on Windows 98 on Internet Explorer 5. It's possible. It's possible. Wow. That's crazy. No, it's kind of slow, but I guess, you know, Windows 98, Internet Explorer 5, emulated on macOS, M1 from 2020. It's kind of slow, I guess. But it works. I can read and access and type into and scroll the modern internet. What about YouTube? Is YouTube going to work? Oh my God, YouTube. The gold standard of the modern web. Impossible. Cannot be accessed. Impossible. Will not. Couldn't work. Never. Couldn't work. Internet Explorer 5. What are we going to search for? What are we going to watch? I mean, how is this not crashing? I feel like... Okay, let's search for 3i Atlas. Let's see what's happening. So you know this is actually from 2025 and not some kind of weird fake that like I recorded in 1998. Cosmic disclosure. Scientists study interstellar comet. Okay, here we go. Oh my God, I hear sound right now. I have to let you hear this. This is crazy.
Customize and expand in any direction. From tools built for one to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine it? Let's make your dream a reality right now.
On YouTube in Internet Explorer 5 on Windows 98. And we're about to see a video about 3i Atlas. That's crazy.
It takes 90 seconds for this NASA-engineered AC cool down your room. It's smaller than a toaster.
What?
Cools
Two
any
ads?
room in 90 seconds.
Oh my God.
And
Thank God I have
Aliens
YouTube
paying us a
Premium.
visit from another star system? What's up with that?
This is so
Let's
crazy.
go back a few thousand years. Consider that people tried to understand the world around them. And in so doing, every time they got to a point that they didn't understand,
The frame rate is awesome, but like,
in came
it's the modern web.
the power of a god. Let's go back to ancient Greece. Storms rose up in the seas. Where did that come from? How? Why? Did they have meteorology? No. Did they understand barometric pressure? No. Did they know anything about the atmosphere? No.
Okay,
But they knew
remove the
Poseidon
power
would-
of the future from the past and go back to Windows and go like, can we just access this using normal Internet Explorer? Is it gonna work? It doesn't work because it's Internet Explorer 5 from 25 years ago running on Windows 98. It doesn't work. Even though the date is 2025, it doesn't work. So if you want to bring modern browsing to legacy systems, ancient browsers and operating systems, as good as they are, they can't access that modern web. You need a BrowserBox. You got to get in touch with us. sales@dosego.com. If you want your license, hit us up. We can sort you out. We can get you set up. BrowserBox, browsing the future from the past.